themselves? Do we have any case examples of where you've actually posted messages on one of the social message boards, one of the blogs, where there's actually been an impact as a result of the posting that you've made in support of your product?
I went through that 4 years ago, where that was the answer to the problem. My company at the time did something. We paid a bunch of bloggers to blog about us, and we did it in a very authentic and transparent way. It started an ethical debate that landed us in Business Week a couple of times, in Forbes magazine a couple of times, as the poster child for something very, very, some people deemed it very, very unethical. The thing that I did to turn it around was to actually start speaking in the social web myself, and to engage the detractors that we had, and to have conversations around what this perception was. Now, this was not a consumer brand, but I've seen it happen over and over again, because the lesson that I learned then is that people who are your own advocates will come to your defense. And you don't have to say anything as a company if you already have relationships established around the web with other like-minded individuals. So during the peanut recall, for example, I think David showed you some of the tweets that were out there, the little Twitter snippets where it was people who were saying, you know, this brand is being, and we watched this unfold, this brand is being recalled, but this brand is okay. And so they'll spread the word for you, and I've seen that happen over and over and over again. You know, we were able to kind of get a glimmer of the fact that dog food was going to come in under attack a couple of days before it actually happened. Did a little bit of outreach. I think the next time we do that and we uncover something like that, I think the folks in the businesses will be listening a lot more, because we do have a case study of the peanut butter recall where very few things were done right by the federal government did it right. The FDA and the CDC did it right. They jumped right in and started letting people know. You saw all sorts of press releases being put out, but people were hungry for information, and now there are thousands of people who follow the recall sites. And they're not folks like us, they're folks like consumers out there, which is interesting.
Yeah, Janet, what should companies be doing proactively as far as looking at blogs, looking at Twitter, that will kind of like raise a red flag? Because, you know, as we've talked through some of this, it really sounds like you can almost predict that you're going to have a recall based on what consumers are saying about you before you even know it.
Mm-hmm.
So what can companies do now as a routine practice to help them with that early warning sign?
I think that's an easy conclusion to draw, but I'm not sure that you can really consider social media as an early warning vehicle. And it really depends on the product type, obviously. So in the case of maybe the face scrubber, if people are online saying, man, I'm like chapped on my face from that scrubber, don't use it, don't use it, then, you know, other consumers are going and seeing that just opinion about a product, which could have alerted, you know, Unilever to some product problems. In the case of peanut butter, and it's a salmonella outbreak, I mean, people aren't going to be sick and going onto Facebook like, oh my gosh, it must have been the peanut butter. It's really going to come down to maybe some, you know, where they are targeting these outbreaks of salmonella. What's the root cause? And until the FDA does the investigation, can you really understand what it was? But I mean, just be careful as far as an early warning vehicle. Yes, that does happen sometimes, but it's not the rule.
But what you can do to answer your question, number one is start listening.
Yes.
Your brand, your products, and your executives should be on some sort of listening system. Their names, your product, and your brand name should all be set up so that somebody is. And these products, you know, these guys have. Nielsen Buzzmetrics is like the 800-pound gorilla, the best possible thing you can get. Google Alerts is like the basic, right? But at least do that, please. Set that up and start listening. Get your employees need to know what to do in case they start hearing these things, because you're going to be the front line of defense. Somebody's going to pick up the phone, or somebody's going to send you a note and start asking. So You should have regular, I was listening to Zappos today. They said 3 times a day. They have an alert system. They send it out to all their employees 3 times a day because every one of their employees is welcome to outreach to their customers. It's a brilliantly simple system. The most important thing, though, is that your employees need to be trained on how to handle something like that. So again, I think the first thing you should do, to Chris's point, and to Mia's point, is to start to listen, but don't jump in assuming that this is the place you test yourself. To Chris's point, this stuff is not going away. So start today by doing some, you guys are in the right place at the right time. It's a great first step, but get some training.